Yo, what's up everyone, and welcome back to Keep It Techie, where we break down Linux, home lab setups, and tech that helps you level up your skills and grow your career. And today I'm going to show you how to install Mattermost server on Ubuntu 24.04 using their official PPA method, which is one of the cleanest ways to set up a fully self-hosted chat server for development, testing, or even running a small internal team. Now, before we get started, if this video helps you out, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It helps the channel grow and lets me know you want more self-hosted project tutorials like this. All right, so let's get into it. All right, if you've never used Mattermost before, it's basically an open source self-hosted team chat platform. And I know the site doesn't look like that. It almost looks like a DoD contractor site, like Raytheon or one of those big government contractors. But I believe a lot of their customers, or at least their market, is the Department of Defense. I've seen at least one of their big customers is the Air Force. So if you go under customers, you'll see U.S. Air Force right there. That's one of their big customers. And they're also CERN as well. So it looks like they kind of market towards that area. But this is a free and open source application. And if we go into platforms, you can click on the overview, and this will show you the actual chat. You can click this video and play it. This will show you what it looks like. Like your different channels and your different servers that you can connect to, all that good stuff. And to me, it almost looks just like Teams, which I use on a daily basis. But this is something you can set up on your own to collaborate with developers and different people that you may be working with. Or let's say you have a small business and you don't want to pay those high prices with Microsoft. You can set one of these up in your business or host it in the cloud and allow your organization to use this as an internal chat system for everyone within the organization. And they have a lot of good information on here. Let me show you guys under the resource. If you go under download, this is actually how you download. They show you all the different ways you can download it. You can download it using Ubuntu, Docker. They have a Tarball, Red Hat, Kubernetes, Omnibus. You can install it there, but they have instructions for that. The Azure Marketplace, you can install it there, but they also have apps for it as well, which I'm using the Linux app on my desktop because I recently joined a server not that long ago, which made me want to look into the actual server side to see how it actually works. But as you can see, you can look at the source code for the desktop app as well as the server software as well. But here's the minimal setup requirements. You can see that the hardware that's needed is basically one V-core, which is crazy. So one virtual CPU with 2 gigabits of RAM, and that supports up to 1,000 users. And then also the database backend that it uses is PostgreSQL version 11 plus. And let me click here because I'm gonna show you guys how to install it on Ubuntu, but it supports 24.04 LTS as well as 22 and 20 as well. And it looks like within their installation information, it goes up to PostgreSQL version 13 plus. So you can even go even higher than what they said on their website. They have all the installation instructions in here. I'm going to follow this basically on my server in order to get it installed, just to show you guys the full process. It's not that difficult, especially when you do it this way. I recommend you follow it just like they have it on their website. I'll set it up in a container, Kubernetes, all that good stuff. And the instructions are all here on their site. And of course, I'll have the link down in the description of the video on Mattermost, how to get it installed and all that stuff. And I might even make a script or something, put it on my wiki so you guys can download that and you can get it installed yourself and set up your own little Mattermost server. And I'm looking at going on and set up one for myself for anybody that wants to join the Keep It Techie team that wants to work on my new operating system that I'm building. So anybody interested in joining and being a part of that, you can get on the Mattermost server and we can collaborate. If you are a developer or if you know how to work with Kickstart files and all that stuff, and we can get on there and chop it up and come up with ideas for the new operating system that I'm working on. But anyway, let's go down and switch over to my virtual machine so we can get this thing installed. What's up, y'all? If you've been watching my channel for a minute, you already know I stay talking about Linux. And if you're looking for a solid, reliable enterprise Linux distro, let me put you on to Rocky Linux. This is the go-to replacement for CentOS, and it's built for the community by the community. It's got everything you need for a stable and secure Linux experience, whether you're running servers, home labs, or enterprise workloads. And the best part, it's backed by CIQ, making sure it stays rock solid for the long haul. So if you're tired of these companies pulling the plug on your favorite distros, Rocky Linux is where you need to be. And I've covered Rocky Linux before, and trust me, it's worth checking out. So head over to rockylinux.org to learn more and get started. Keep it techie. Peace. All right, so I'm connected to my virtual machine. This is Ubuntu server 24.04. I have all the requirements that they ask for, the system requirements. So this is Ubuntu, like I said, 24.04 LTS. I have 4 gigabytes of memory, which it only requires 2 gigabytes. That's the minimum, like 1 vCore, PostgreSQL version 13. I haven't installed that yet. And then also a static IP address, also a domain name if you want one. If you want to set up a reverse proxy, and also you got to be able to open up ports, so you need to understand how to manipulate the firewall on your server as well. That's why another reason I use Ubuntu, because it's easy to show people how to open up ports using UFW, because Mattermost uses port 8065, I believe, and then a proxy if you need it, port 80443. And also I think you need a mail port as well. So if someone needs to reset their password or something like that, I think it's 10025. Yeah, that's the outbound email. Or you get alerts or something, you turn it on where you get alerts to your email address, then you know it'll send out alerts that way. Now, the first thing you should do is start with updating your system. And I typically just run both of the commands together. And as you can see, I've already ran it on this server. This is a brand new installation. It's the minimized version of 24.04. So it doesn't have many packages on here. I like installing things on the minimized version because it doesn't have a lot of those extra packages that come with the full-blown server version. But I know I'm gonna have to install a few things like Nano when we get into like our configurations, but you wanna update your system. As you can see, we don't have any updates. So we get to go there. Let's go down and install a couple dependencies I know we're going to need. So let me get back up to the top and let's run sudo apt install, and we're gonna need curl. That should be on there. We're gonna need GPG, or actually the new PG2, and then we're gonna need, what is it, software dash properties. And actually I put a space in there when I wasn't supposed to, but properties, and let me tab. And I forgot, probably doesn't have the tab feature or autocomplete on here as well. I might have to install that as well. And that's called bash completion. And I like Nano, so I'm gonna install that as well. And then let's just put a -y at the end, and we'll go down and install all of those packages. And yep, so it didn't have bash completion, so now we got bash completion, so we good to go. Let's see what all it installed. So this is basically what all it installed. The rest of the packages were already there. So software properties -common, that was already at its newest version, so it's already installed. Curl was already installed, so that's good to know. So next time I go through this process, I won't have to install those 2 packages. But bash completion is not on there, and Nano is not installed. I knew Nano wasn't installed, and that's the same with like Vim. If you use Vim as your text editor, you have to install that as well. But VI is here, and that's what I meant by the minimalized version of Ubuntu server. Doesn't come with all those extra packages on there, so you can choose what you want to install. Now, one cool thing about Mattermost, before they had like a script, I believe you had to install everything separately. Now they have a dev package through their PPA. And what you want to do is import the GPG key. Let me go down there now, paste the command in here, but let's go down and add it to our system. Good to go. And then all we had to do is run the official repository setup script. I think I showed you guys that on their website, but there is a setup script. And this script basically sets up the Mattermost repo, the PostgreSQL repo, as well as Nginx as a proxy server, and then also certbot for the HTTPS support. So basically goes through and set up everything for you. Now, all you got to do is type sudo apt updates. Boom. We're going to run that. And then also we need to run sudo apt install. And what we want to install is our Mattermost server. So Mattermost, and then -y, and press enter. That'll install Mattermost for us. And basically, it'll install the binary to the app directory under Mattermost. It'll also create a new system user called Mattermost, and it also will create the systemd service, but it'll be disabled by default. And that's one of the things you would have had to do previously. You would have had to set up the services manually which I've shown you guys how to do that on other applications I've set up in the past. We went in and created a service and then stored that service and all that stuff. So they laid everything out for you guys if you're using this process. All right, so now that we've got Mattermost installed, let's get the PostgreSQL database set up and ready. And this is a required step since Mattermost needs a backend database to store everything, like user accounts, message channels, and more. So let's go ahead and get that installed. And like I said, the script adds the Postgres repository to the system. So let's go on and type sudo apt install. And we need to install PostSQL. And then let's install PostSQL, and then -contrib, and then -y, and press enter. Now install everything we need. All right, so let's wait for this to install and configure, and then we'll go in and create our database and our user for Mattermost. And then we can get back to finishing configuring Mattermost and we can get it set up. I'll come back when this install completes. All right, so Postgres is installed, and now let's go on and log into the server. Let's type sudo and then our user, so -u, and then Postgres, and then psql. And forgot one thing, let's put the S there. Boom, there we go. So let's press enter. Now we logged into our server, and I already wrote out the query so I don't have to type the whole thing out. And I just gave it a BS password. It's just your strong password here. I just put that there, but it's just to show you guys what you want to do when you actually create this. So you put your strong password here. And like I said, I'll put this in my documentation when we create it, but that's what you want to do. You want to put your strong password here, and then you can create a user account. I created mine user, so Mattermost user, and up here at the top is creating the database Mattermost, and then we're granting all privileges on database Mattermost to user, so our Mattermost user, and then we're quitting. So let's go and press enter. Boom, good to go. It created the database, it created the role, it gave the grants, and then the invalid command with the Q. I think I messed up. So it's -Q, I think, to get out. Yeah, -Q, not -Q. So sorry about that. So that's it. You've created a database called Mattermost, a username, user, and granted access. Just make sure you replace your strong password here with something secure. And make sure you remember that, because you'll use this information in the configuration file we will edit in the next step. All right, so now that we got Postgres installed, Mattermost will require Postgres to be running in order to store it up. So you want to set it as a dependency. So let me show you guys how to do that right fast. All you have to do is go to the service for Mattermost. So if you type in sudo nano, and then let's go into lib, then system D, and then there is a system folder under there. And then there should be a Mattermost, and I'm gonna tab it out. And it's actually 2 T's, Mattermost.service, press enter. And if you go over here after set Mattermost to store it, after PostgreSQL service, so let's type that in, that service. And then also we want to bind it to, and you have to type this stuff in correctly, otherwise it's not gonna work. So capital B binds to, and then put equals PostgreSQL, and actually let me just copy it just to make sure type it in correctly. So I tend to mistype things sometimes. What's going on? Paste that in there. So PostgreSQL service. So that should be correct. Good to go. And then let's go down and save this right fast and exits. And then this change ensures that Mattermost will wait for PostgreSQL to be running before starting up. And this is especially helpful when both are on the same host. And so I just wanted you guys to at least set that up in case you start running into issues. You want to go down and configure that properly, because Mattermost depends on PostgreSQL already running in order for it to start up properly. And you may start running into issues if it's not. Now, whenever you make a change to like systemd, any of the services or anything, you want to run sudo systemctl, and you want to do daemon reset, press enter. And then also reload, press, and then you can restore Mattermost. I don't think it's stored it. It shouldn't be stored because all we did was install it. So let me check the status right fast. Yeah, it's not stored yet. So we good to go. I just wanted to at least reload it and refresh so we can make sure when it does start, it will be looking for PostgreSQL service to be sorted. All right, now let me go down and run the configuration for Mattermost right fast. I'm gonna just copy the command in there and I'll just walk you guys through it. So I'm gonna just paste that in there. Sudo install Mattermost. It's gonna basically copy the default config over into the opt Mattermost config directory for the install we have on this system. So let's go and press enter. That'll put that config over there. So all we have to do is not log into it. So let's go sudo nano, and then let's go into our op directory, and then there's a Mattermost directory, and then config, and then what we want to do is go into that config JSON file. And what we're looking for is certain things to change right fast or add to. And the first thing you want to do is look for your driver. And the driver for this thing is going to be PostgreSQL. Maybe a little hard to find. Let's see. One thing we could do in Nano is search. So we could type Control W and we could type driver. And then Nano is driver name, press enter. Bam, there we go. So it's already there. So Postgres, and then we need the data source. So Postgres, we set up user, and then next is our password. So just back this off right here, and let's drop in our password. Don't spell that long, crazy password I created. Basically, your strong password here. That's where you put your password at. And then at localhost, and then Mattermost test. And let's take this test off because we didn't name it test. So we're gonna leave that there. And SSL table. And I believe the next thing is like a connection timeouts, 10 seconds, and binary parameter. We can just leave that there, that's fine. Let me go back up here because we shouldn't need the port. Let's just put the port in there just to make sure. So it should be 5432. So let's put that in there. All right, so the next thing we're looking for is the site URL. So let's do Control W again, and we can type the URL in all caps. Let's see, where is the site? Let's actually type it all out. So let's go sites and then URL, and there we go. So it's more at the top. So what you want to do is type in your site URL. So whatever you name this site, you want to put that URL up here. For instance, let's say I set up a URL called chats.keepittechie.com or something like that. And that'll be our URL. And you want to put your HTTPS // and boom, good to go. You can set up your domain like that. But since I don't have a domain that I'm setting up on this thing, I'm gonna put just the IP address. Just so you guys know, you can do that if you're setting one up on a local network or something like that. You just put the IP address. People just have to remember the IP address. Or set up a local domain, like the server name or something like that. Put a cert on it or something, and you can host it out that way locally at your job or whatever. So I'm gonna just put the IP address, and then the listening address is right there. That's pretty much it. A lot more changes you can go in here and make. For instance, you can add the email address or a support email address. You can add, it's like a lot of features you can go through and modify and add up in here. I can't go through them all. Otherwise, I'll be here all day. I'll make the video like an hour long. Just check it out for yourself. You know what I'm saying? It'd be super cool for you to go through and check all this out. Now, let me go on and save our configuration. So let's hit Control S, Control X, and that'll close out. But as you can see right there, you see how it says wrote 704 lines. 704 lines in here of changes you can make to this configuration file. So let's go down and close that. Boom, we're good to go. Now the next thing you want to do is go down and start your Mattermost server. And actually, let's go down and show you guys how to do it. So sudo systemctl start, and then this may fail if we don't have Postgres stored it. So Mattermost, and press enter, and Mattermost failed, and that's probably because Postgres is not stored. So let's go down and start that first, or at least check the status of it. So let's status Postgres. Let's run that. So it is active. That's active and running. I wonder why Mattermost is not starting. All right, so let's check our journal entries right fast. Let's just type this in right fast and see what we're getting in here. So after doing a little research, I found that Mattermost just needs some more permissions in Postgres as far as like the table schema. So I granted those permissions to Mattermost. Is setting up or creating the tables and everything for Mattermost. It needs those permissions for the schema and all that good stuff. So go down, quit out of Postgres, and let's try to restart again. So let's type systemctl restart, and let's go Mattermost. And this is going to be a long video, and it looks like we ran into another issue. This is crazy. All right, so let's restart the services. Type sudo systemctl restart Mattermost, and it looks like we may have something working. All right, and it looks like it worked. I didn't see any errors. Let's look at the logs again just to see. Yeah, looks like it's working. Actually, let's go down to the bottom. All right, fast. And looks like we are working. I don't see any issues in the logs other than some plugin failures, but it looks like it's actually working now. I don't see any huge failures. So we are good to go as of right now. And one thing to do to verify that it's running, we can use the curl command. So we can type curl and then http:// local host. And then we can put port 8065, press enter, and as long as it brings something back without any issues, yeah, it's running. So it is running. It's bringing back the site. So you can see JavaScript and all that stuff. Please enable JavaScript. Yeah, so it's bringing back the actual site. So we're good to go. It's returning something. And one thing you want to do is type sudo systemctl enable Mattermost. Just make sure it starts on boot. So that way, when you restore the system, you know, it'll start on boot. And then also Postgres as well. And it won't start Mattermost until Postgres is up. So let's go on and do that as well. Enable. Yeah, so that will start on boot as well. Now I won't go through the Nginx reverse proxy and the certbot stuff. You guys, I'll create another video showing you guys all that. I've done videos on that in the past. If you have a domain, you have to have a domain set up in order to do that, at least the certbot port of it, which I don't have a domain. But let's go down and check out our Mattermost server. All right, cool. So all you have to do is type in the IP address unless you have a domain name. So I don't have a domain name, so I'm gonna just type in the IP address. And I know mine is 102 and then ports 8065, and it should bring up our Mattermost sites. And you can view in the desktop app, but we're gonna view in the browser. And this will allow you to set up your account. I'm not gonna go through the whole process of setting it up. This is the free edition, but this is set up on our server locally. You know what I'm saying? You can go through, set up your account, set up the server, all that good stuff. And I'll probably do another video because this video is going a little too long. I didn't want to make it super long like this, but I'll walk through actually configuring the server once we got it fully up. And I'll also add some stuff to the documentation on errors that I ran into. So you guys, if you run into those errors, you'll have some place to look at and troubleshoot those issues and fix those issues. There were mainly permission issues within the database like PostgreSQL. You just needed to give Mattermost a little bit more permissions when it came to certain ports of the database server. So like the schema and certain areas that you needed to give it permission to manage the database server. And that's it. You now have a Mattermost server up and running on your own Linux box using the official PPA method. So that means it's secure, easy to update, perfect for your dev teams or lab environments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment letting me know what other tools you would like to see me install in the future. This is Josh from Keep It Techie, reminding you to stay focused, stay dedicated, and of course, keep it techie. See you guys in the next one. Peace. Yo, what's up, y'all? Listen, if you've been sitting there thinking about making a move, let me tell you, tech is where it's at. I don't care where you coming from, whether you've got a degree, a GED, or just pure hustle. There's room for you in this game. You see, tech is more than just keyboards and code. It's solving problems, creating opportunities, and building the future. You already have what it takes because tech doesn't care where you start. It cares where you're willing to go. You can teach yourself Linux, learn Python, break into cybersecurity, or even launch your own app. And the resources are out here for free. And yes, you heard me, free. Now, yeah, it's gonna take effort. You'll have to grind, but think about this. The time is gonna pass anyway. So why not invest it in a skill that'll change your life? I mean, tech doesn't just pay the bills, it opens doors to freedom, stability, and generational wealth. So stop doubting yourself, start small, stay consistent, and keep building. Because this isn't just a career, it's a movement. And guess what? You belong here. So let's get it, because the future is yours to build. Keep it techie.
Wow.